In sports, some names echo across generations. They're not just remembered, they're revered. Sanders is one of those names. When you hear it, you think of speed, swagger, primetime performances, and a Hall of Fame legacy that danced from the gridiron to the baseball diamond and back. But for Shilo Sanders, that legacy was never a finish line, it was just the starting gun. To most, being the son of Deion Sanders would be a dream. And in some ways, it was. But what people often forget is that greatness in the family tree doesn't make the climb any easier. It makes the stakes higher, the pressure heavier, the noise louder. For Shilo, the path to becoming more than just prime-time son wasn't paved in spotlight. It was paved in early mornings, overlooked effort, and years of quiet grind. Born on February 9, 2000, Shilo came into the world already surrounded by expectation. From the moment he first held a football, the questions followed. Is he like his dad? Can he live up to the name? Does he have the it factor? But while others questioned, Shilo quietly prepared. And behind that megawatt smile was a kid who understood that nothing, not even a name, guarantees greatness. You still have to earn it. Raised in Texas, Shilo grew up in a household where work ethic wasn't suggested, it was expected. Deion didn't raise passive kids. He raised warriors. And even as a child, Shilo showed signs of that fighter spirit. Backyard games with his siblings weren't casual, they were battles. Discipline was routine. Competition was oxygen. And in those early days, Shilo developed a thick skin and a sharper edge. He began building his own identity at Trinity Christian School in Cedar Hill, Texas. There, he blossomed into a two-way player with explosive range and a knack for reading offenses before the ball was snapped. But defense was his true home. As a safety, Shilo made opposing receivers pay for crossing the middle. He didn't just make tackles, he delivered statements. His instincts, physicality, and emotional intensity drew early attention. But so did the last name, and that was both a blessing and a burden. When he committed to play at South Carolina, it wasn't a flashy decision. It was a deliberate one. Shilo didn't want to take the easy road or ride his father's wave. He chose the SEC, the most physical conference in college football, because he wanted to prove he could thrive in the fire. He wanted to go where no one would care about who his dad was, just what he could do. At South Carolina, he learned what it meant to truly grow up in the game. He watched from the sidelines. He battled for reps. He studied relentlessly. He took his lumps. And instead of complaining, he evolved. He started to see the field differently. He learned the value of patience, of positioning, of leadership. His performances may not have made national headlines, but the experience laid a crucial foundation. A player who didn't run from pressure, but sharpened himself beneath it. Then came a turning point, not just for Shilo, but for college football as a whole. In 2020, Deion Sanders accepted the head coaching job at Jackson State University, a historic but overlooked HBCU. What followed wasn't just a coaching hire, it was a cultural earthquake. With it came a movement, a mission to restore pride, opportunity, and national attention to black college football. And soon after, Shilo transferred to join his father and younger brother Shadur in Jackson, Mississippi. Many thought the move was about comfort. But anyone who's played under a parent knows different. It's harder, not easier. Coach Prime made no exceptions. If anything, he demanded more from his sons. Every film session was intensified. Every mistake magnified. And for Shilo, the pressure multiplied. Now it wasn't just his legacy on the line, it was the family's mission. And he rose. At Jackson State, Shilo found his voice. He became the emotional core of the defense, fast, vocal, fearless. He led with his play and with his fire. Each hit reverberated with purpose. Each game he seemed more aware, not just of the playbook, but of the moment. His growth was undeniable. Better footwork, sharper angles, cleaner reads, more disciplined coverage. He recorded multiple interceptions, racked up tackles, and emerged as a vocal leader in a team full of talent. But more than that, Shilo embraced the responsibility of the moment. Jackson State wasn't just about football, It was about legacy, representation, and elevation. And Shilo didn't shy from the spotlight. He engaged the cameras. He connected with fans. He became a favorite not because of his name, but because of his fire. He played like a man with something to prove. Because he was. In 2022, the Sanders movement reached new heights. Jackson State went undefeated in the regular season. Deion won national acclaim for transforming the program. And while Shedeur dominated headlines with his quarterback play, it was Shilo's physicality and leadership on the defensive end that anchored the team. He was the enforcer, the heart, the hammer. And yet, his journey was far from over. In late 2022, Deion Sanders accepted the head coaching job at the University of Colorado. The move was monumental, shifting from an HBCU to a Power 5 program in desperate need of a spark. Along with him came the core of the Sanders family. Deion, the coach and visionary. Shedeur, the star quarterback. And Shilo, the relentless defender with unfinished business. For some, it was a publicity stunt. For others, a cultural shift. But for Shilo, it was the next test. And he passed it with fury. From the moment he stepped onto the field in Boulder, Shilo brought intensity. Not as an accessory to the primetime show, but as a core character. He became the spine of the Buffalo's defense, leading by example, hitting like a truck, and talking like a man with every reason to. Early in the 2023 season, he dropped jaws with a 80-yard pick-six and a series of bone-rattling tackles that went viral across sports media. One particular play, a legal, devastating hit against Colorado State, summed it up perfectly. It was violent, clean, explosive, and emotional. Shilo stood over the fallen receiver, arms outstretched, chest heaving. The crowd erupted. Social media blew up. But more importantly, his team fed off it. That's who Shilo is, a momentum engine. He doesn't just play football, he ignites it. But the season wasn't without adversity. A kidney injury forced him to miss games. For most players, that would have been a major derailment. But Shilo fought back faster than expected. With grit, with therapy, with determination. And when he returned, he picked up right where he left off, leading, hitting, energizing. By the end of the season, Shilo had made one thing clear. He wasn't riding anyone's coattails. He was earning his own stripe. Analysts began noticing. Scouts took interest. ESPN features rolled in. Fans across the country started learning that Sanders didn't just mean Coach Prime or Shedeur. It meant Shilo, the defender you don't want to see when you're coming across the middle. Off the field, Shilo remains unapologetically himself. He's loud, funny, spiritual, fashionable, and deeply proud of his story. He speaks often about God, about growth, about how far he's come. And through it all, you can feel his truth. He doesn't need to be anyone but Shilo. And the world is finally starting to appreciate what that name means. Not just son of a legend, but a rising legend in his own right. The NFL is coming. The buzz is real. And while Shilo's game speaks volumes, his instincts, speed, and toughness are tailor-made for Sundays. It's his mindset that will carry him furthest. He plays with a chip, but not bitterness. He plays with swagger, but not entitlement. He plays like a man who's had to prove his worth every step of the way. And he still is. Because the story of Shilo Sanders isn't just about football. It's about identity. About a young man born into fame who chose fight over fame. Who never asked for a spotlight, but built one with his effort. Who learned that legacy isn't something you inherit. It's something you create. And he's creating it, with every snap, every hit, every comeback. Thank you for walking this road with us. The journey of Shilo Sanders, a man who stepped into the storm of expectation and made it his own arena. If his story inspired you, if it reminded you that your last name doesn't define your first steps, do us a favor. Like this video to show your respect for the grind. Subscribe so you never miss a tribute like this, because greatness doesn't just come from the past. It rises again and again from those willing to earn it. Until next time, play like your name isn't known yet. Hit like it matters. Lead like you've been doubted. Because as Shilo Sanders shows us, you don't have to be first to be unforgettable. You just have to be real.